You mentioned something initially about your dad who was opening up bottles at 7:30 a.m., that sort of thing. And the question I have is around your perspective on being exposed to kind of like the second hand effects of being someone who's impacted by someone else doing it and then picking it up yourself, and what your thoughts are around both those two perspectives.
Well, I did develop traits of a child raised by an alcoholic, and I had to work through that as a young adult. The first therapist I went to, which I'm just so grateful that I went, because in that day, you didn't go to somebody and pay them to tell them your issues. Everything was fine and perfect, and you kept it all buckled up. But I was coming out of the seams, and my goals and my values and my focus was all dropping. So I knew I needed some kind of help. And he immediately started talking. I said, my life is out of control and completely unmanageable, odd words to come out of my mouth firsthand in the office. And he immediately started talking about, was there alcohol and alcoholism in my family and my history? And I said, oh, of course. Yeah, it's, a natural. And he said, well, you may want to go to these meetings and learn about the effects of being raised by an alcoholic as an adult child. And I learned about my isolation. I'll never forget the first time I went to those gatherings. The people were sitting around the table and saying the exact things and expressing the same emotion that I had felt growing up. But, you didn't speak that out loud. So there was a recognition and a camaraderie that I had never experienced. So that was important for me in that scenario. And I had seen my father welcome alcohol. And so it seemed natural and normal. And I hated myself. By the end, I didn't want to be around another person unless I knew there was a drink somewhere nearby, and it didn't matter if it was the first or the 10th. I didn't know which one it would be. I needed to get out of my being because it was so painful and uncomfortable to be me. I didn't have any idea of who me was, but whoever it was not worthy and did not have enough value to contribute as a human being. And that's a tough learning to dissect and move through.
And do you have any additional advice for someone who might be struggling in that position right now?
Yes, I do. Hold on, because you have not yet experienced the miracle. There were many times I just had to keep repeating that lesson. And there is help at every level. And if you feel drawn to the conversation you're listening to now, I welcome you to get in touch with me for just a one-to-one chat, a conversation. I'd love to hear your story. Because oftentimes for me, listening to other stories and revealing my own story was the first step to an authentic connection.